Lesson 39, topic Preparation for the episode of death, initial considerations, part 1. Greetings, brothers and sisters. I wanted to talk to you about a topic that may interest you most. It is very important, especially in certain cultures where the concept of spiritual wisdom and the importance of the spiritual world in its interaction with the physical world are well developed. In cultures with this understanding of life, learning is very simple. From a very young age, they begin to understand the process that lies ahead, how to evolve in the life they are destined to lead, how to live it, and how to be aware of everything necessary to carry out the process well and achieve a good outcome. In these cultures, they understand this very clearly, so I will not discuss this topic further in this context. Considering your cultural context, those of you watching this video are likely people with a Western mindset, not very religious, quite skeptical about the spiritual world, and experiencing significant mental health issues due to the imbalance of you're currently facing. Ideally, as I mentioned before, it would begin at a young age, but that's only within reach of a few. Those who are able to remember what they learned in a past life and thus have had a head start. These types of people often surprise those around them. Over time, family members come to accept that this is who they are, that this is their evolution, and some even try to learn from them so that their spiritual evolution can be on the right track. Unfortunately, this rarely happens. However, if it does occur in your family with a member, don't try to change their mindset. Generally, these types of people are very persistent in their attitude because they learned in their past lives what was necessary to carry out their evolution to a higher level in this one. That is why they know what they want to do and how they have to do it. If you try to change their mindset, you will only delay their evolution, make them even more persistent, and make them stronger against the society around them. A few people who have this gift of remembering what they have to do will be malleable by the society around them, but fortunately they are few. If you have a member in your family with this quality and who is susceptible to what society says is right, don't try to change them. Instead, try to help them learn the truth, to look within themselves. This will allow them to realize that the knowledge is already within them, that they only need to remember it. If you sufficiently support these types of people within the family environment or in the environment of very close people who possess a spiritual knowledge, you can even help them remember much of their past life, and this will accelerate their evolution. It's the best thing that can happen to them, that their environment is conducive to this spiritual knowledge. Now, let's move on to a slightly later age. Having already moved from the early years of childhood to between 20 and 40 years old, at this age, with a bit of luck, the person has already remembered something from their past life. Learning spiritual knowledge is their intention, which only serves to change their behavior and compels them to learn. The next step would be to learn from that acquired knowledge through other people in their environment. The mental state of this group of people as between 20 and 40 years old is very conducive to beginning the path of spiritual evolution in order to prepare for death. This process should not be understood as something negative, since the person doesn't have to be negative, because death is only a step before the next phase of life that must arrive, whether through reincarnation or as a permanent resident in this spiritual world. It is only an intermediate state. In this type of person, it is common, if they already have a somewhat high level of spiritual evolution, to be able to communicate with the spiritual teacher, and thus they will learn, or rather remember, everything necessary to carry out this evolution. This group of people typically tends to seek out other like-minded individuals, and this impulse motivates those around them within that group to also want to learn from them. Therefore, it's normal for the evolution of this group to be more or less similar. End of part 1.